Is your dog afraid of everything and everybody? Like your dog gets spooked out when somebody even looks at them type of fear? Or maybe your dog has a hard time trusting new people, other dogs, or being in new environments. You've tried dog trainers or doing things on your own, but your dog is still a nervous Nelly? In this video, I'm going to cover how to build confidence in any dog, yes, your dog at home, regardless of how fearful or nervous that they are, or whatever trauma that they've had in the past. I'm gonna tell you how to build that confidence up and get your dog more confident. Now, before we start, I think it's important to tell you who I am so you know, like, I'm not just some armchair expert talking out of my ass here. My name is Tom Davis, and I'm a canine expert in dog behavior. Perhaps you may have seen me on TV or working with your favorite celebrity, but I've been working specifically with canine behavior modification for over a decade. And I have accumulated the 5 biggest reasons dogs become fearful in the first place. And then right after that, I'm gonna tell you exactly how to overcome this fear and insecurity and build a more confident dog. All right, let's talk about number 1, trauma. If your dog has had something really bad happen to them, of course, they're not gonna trust anyone or go near anything associated with that trauma. Much like with people. Makes sense, right? Dogs are animals. They are so dang instinctual and smart, and they know what keeps them safe, and they know what causes them trauma and makes them fearful and nervous and insecure. This could be a dog fight that had happened with an off-leash dog or at a dog park, which I don't recommend, by the way, but that's a whole separate video. I'll put it right here if I've already made it. Number 2 is going to be genetics. Some dogs were born fearful because their mom was fearful, their dad was fearful, their grandma was fearful. Everybody in their whole freaking genetic bloodline is fearful and insecure. So you guys get the point there. All of those things are going to accumulate fear in a puppy, which basically makes them born with the fear without even knowing anything about the world. Much like humans, most of how we behave and our temperament is predicated off of our genetics, right? If our dad was 7'5" and our mom was 7'2", we're going to probably be tall. And this is something that we can't change, unfortunately, or sometimes fortunately. It's important to know all of this stuff, especially about genetics, when you guys are working with any dogs on any level. If you know your dog's mom and dad were both feral street dogs fighting to survive for their lives, then your dog's genetic may be prone to fear and insecurity because of these things. Number 3, the environment your dog is currently in. Now, this may seem obvious to some of you, but it's really important to mention. If you have loud noises or people running around your house, screaming and yelling, throwing things off the wall, turning up the TV as loud as they can, your dog could easily be fearful because of that. They can live in a state of what is going to fly across the room and yell and scream next. That's a good reason why your dog can become fearful. Now, it could be that simple. If people are yelling and screaming in your home all the time, your dog is likely to have more fear and anxious tendencies because they are constantly trying to get into a calm state. They're constantly trying to chill out and relax and not have to look over their shoulder about what's going to happen next or who's going to yell next. But if they're surrounded by these environments, it's pretty difficult to do that. Number 4, lack of exposure. Now, you may be the calmest, chillest peeps out there, and you got your dog from a great place with no stress, but your dog is still nervous. Genetics. Just kidding. But also, seriously, it might be genetics. That's what we talked about. You could be doing all the things right, and your dog's genetics really don't allow your dog to be chill because of the reasons we talked about. But also, exposure is really, really important for dogs, especially at an early age, much like with kids or with children. Imprinting and development is huge. For an example, if you live in a city and you barely walk your dog outside, your dog might be afraid of all the sounds, smells, and scenes of the city because they have not exposed to these things. They don't know what they are. They're like, whoa, what is this? Trash can and sirens and people yelling and homeless people and rats the size of them. Anyway, number 5, training and your relationship. And now, again, as a reminder, my bread and butter is reactive fear and aggressive dogs. That's pretty much the only thing I've been doing every single day for 10 years. Some of the most reactive and fearful and insecure dogs don't have a healthy relationship with their owners. And in fact, this is the reason why they are fearful in the first place. This is important, so please pay attention to this. Please, this is absolutely for free for you guys. And I'm telling you, this is what dog owners pay me thousands of dollars to tell them. So this is huge. When a dog owner comes into my facility and has full-blown conversations with their dog, this can absolutely make your dog insecure. It sounds silly, but please let me explain. You see, our dogs depend on us, right? they look at us as leaders in their life. They want us to be a leader. They want guidance. They want direction. They're like, what do you want me to do? Yeah, they're playful and silly and they'll pull on the leash and be goofy. But at the end of the day, once they mature and they're like, okay, now what do you want me to do in life? If they're not clear on who's in charge or who's the manager in the room, that can make them fearful. If we walk around and act and talk like we have no idea what we're doing, our dogs will pick up on that big time. You guys, dogs can detect cancer. They know when you don't know what you're doing. They know when you're nervous. They know when you don't have control. They know that when you're out and you're constantly on your phone and letting them do whatever you want, that they don't have a healthy relationship with you. Now, if you're anything like my clients, one of these things that I mentioned will relate to you, or maybe all of them, or maybe more. But before we get into the how to build confidence in any dog, you absolutely, non-negotiable, have to have good foundation with your dog. None of this will make sense. None of anything will make sense if you don't with your dog. If you can't ask your dog to sit and do it without an Italian deli on your hip, or a correction, or having to ask 5 to 6 to 10 times, then you have an unhealthy relationship with your dog. This is not good. Now, I'm not saying you don't love your dog. I'm not saying that your dog doesn't love you. It simply means, well, you don't have a healthy relationship with your dog. I don't know how else to tell you. This is not good. And on that note, I will tell you that my leash reactivity course and my Kickstarter course are both $100 off right now if you use this discount code on the screen, and it's going to be good for you guys who are watching this video. Now, with that being said, now what do you do? How can you turn all of this around? How can you build confidence with any dog? All right, let's talk about what you can do. Number one, if your dog has had trauma in the past, there are some things you can do to start helping your dog build some trust and confidence. But you guys got to try to figure out what happened to your dog, if you can, to try to avoid these places and situations, triggers, and things. Certain places and environments may be traumatic triggers for your dog. So do your best to identify these triggers and avoid them like the dog park. I mean, avoid them like the plague or the dog park. Number two, your dog's genetics aren't going to change, but, and however, you can shape and help mold their temperament. Dogs' genetics have a huge role in their temperament and how they behave, but there are some things that you guys can do. Start imprinting and exposing your dog as early as you possibly can to start building that confidence immediately around all of these different distractions and environments. This means getting your new puppy around kids, other dogs, and diverse environments to try to fight back against their poor genetics potentially. If they were born on the streets as puppies and they're like fighting for their lives and they don't like people and they're fearful, these are things you want to do early on. Number three, the environment your dog is in matters. There's absolutely no doubt, like it does with us. If you can do the best you can to have the conversations with those people who you live with to not freak your dog out, that would be a good place to start. Maybe you have roommates, or maybe you have little sisters or brothers or mom and dads or crazy uncles and aunts and grandparents. These are conversations you can have with them. Some other ideas are getting your dog a crate. A crate is a very safe place for your dog to feel safe. I'll put the crate that I suggest right here. It's an Impact crate. I really like this company, and you can save money in the link in the description below. But the crate is a place that your dog can go when the roommates are being too loud, or depending on where you live, if there's fireworks or there's people and there's noise and hustle and bustle. A crate's a safe place. It's the only place that's dedicated just for your dog in your home. I will add exercise to any insecure dog, or even people for that matter, is a great way to start building confidence and to start getting some of that stress off the bones. Number four, exposing your dog to new things can be scary to a new dog. So get some food, get your dog's favorite toy, and start working around these scary things and these triggers. You want to help your dog through these scary things using tons of positive reinforcement, because that is powerful stuff, guys. Imagine your dog got a splinter on a piece of wood. Now they won't go near wood ever again. Well, that's not realistic, but it's also important to help your dog build confidence. This is just an example, right? Your dog had a bad experience. You want to reconstruct that experience. So it's like, hey, that one time isn't going to happen again. And here's all the things that you love around that thing as well. So find a wooden park bench or something, or find a stump or something, and go and just work around these things. You guys get the point. Get your dog's favorite food, get their favorite toy, get them while they're hungry, and go out and work around these things to desensitize. Number five, training. This kind of piggybacks off number four, but starting to train your dog the moment you get them helps build confidence tremendously with your dog. When your dog looks at you as a leader, your dog will have more confidence, period. Another little secret here that I'll steal from my Kickstarter course is thresholds. The ability to verbally tell your dog to stay when leaving a threshold, a door, a crate, a truck, whatever, any threshold. This will help your dog's confidence tremendously because your dog will have more confidence with you, looking at you for permission, asking for permission, and then getting rewarded after that for making the right decision. It's a home run for building confidence and a healthy relationship with your dog because they are looking at you for direction, they're doing the right thing, they're getting paid. It's all this beautiful stuff. So look, guys, if your dog is afraid of anything, no matter what it is, you want to desensitize your dog to whatever it is. Take your time with this dog, but also give a little bit of encouragement. Maybe some light leash pressure to help your dog realize that the cone or the mailbox isn't out to get you. I'll put a video of me doing that with Burley on the streets with a hose here. And if you can add your dog's favorite thing in the whole world, aka positive reinforcement, to help your dog overcome these fears because they're like, man, that hose is really scary, or that stump or that person or that other dog is scary, but man, I really love these treats or this ball, that's going to be helpful for you. Positive reinforcement is powerful stuff. Even if there's nothing in particular your dog is nervous about, your dog's just anxious and nervous all the time for whatever reasons, maybe genetics, you can still help them build security and confidence over time by doing these desensitization processes that I'm talking about. It's kind of like humans, like us. We may be afraid to do something at first, or we're like, I've done this before and it's scary. But once you do it a bunch, it gets easier. You get more confident. Like, think about the time you went to the gym or you went on that date or whatever, and the very first date you met your partner right now, you're like, oh, I'm nervous. Now you're not, right? Now, I know that it's not easy. Trust me, I have worked my fair share of fearful dogs, and it's incredibly rewarding to overcome fear with dogs. It really is. If you can help your dog realize that you are the leader and you can handle situations, they will trust you. It's the real secret weapon in dog training, especially when it comes to fearful and insecure dogs. Most people just don't know where to start. They don't know where to go. And that's exactly why I made my online program called the No Bad Dog Kickstarter course, specifically for people like you who don't know where to go. This program covers the 5 basic commands all dog owners must have in order to accomplish anything that we talked about in this video. But you can also watch free videos like this and get just as much stuff. But as a reminder, all of my courses right now are $100 off using this discount code right here just for you guys watching this video. And of course, as always, all my offerings, how to work with me in person, or all my seminars are linked in the description below. But at the end of the day, guys, if you have a fearful dog, your objective is to help build confidence with them through desensitization, positive reinforcement, being a good leader, but you have to have good foundation, and you have to have good training in general. Like, if you have good training, you tell your dog to sit, and they're like, I don't know, and they overcome these things, it's really, 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 really helpful. But I think one thing I've probably said it in this video, be patient. Take your time. Take deep breaths, be patient with your dog. It does take time depending on how much trauma they have, depending on how fearful they are. But I hope this video was helpful nonetheless, and I can't wait to see you guys on my next video. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel so we can see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Peace.